Alright, I just thought I'd shoot a quick video. Now, this video requires a disclaimer. I am not a propane expert. I'm just a hillbilly that has some seat-of-the-pants know-how. So ever since we got this bus, this thing has seemed like the flame. I just didn't like the way it sounded in the refrigerator. I didn't like the smell from the stove, and my gut instinct from years of screwing with stuff was that we had too much gas pressure. Now you hear this thing's a little flighty to start with. It wants to blow itself out like there it relit. But anyway, so I happen to have access to cool tools, and my dad had an actual water column pressure gauge. So I busted that thing out, hooked her up to the test port, and we were running 16 inches of water column. Now 16 inches is way out of spec. I had done some research online and definitely was coming to the conclusion that this system should be in about the 11 inches range. Matter of fact, this gauge, if you look at it on the cheat chart, they show 11 to 12 inches as the normal gauge readings. So anyways, I figured that the regulator had bit the dust, but I thought, well, we'd see what we could do with it once. I was preparing to try and get a diaphragm for it, so I popped the cover off here. Now, for those of you that don't know, there's an adjusting screw underneath these. I can show you that in a minute. I was using this because the plastic was old and it didn't want to turn nice. I'll pull this off a minute. So that white plastic thing is the adjusting screw. Now what was interesting is that thing was cranked almost all the way to the bottom. Now I don't know if that meant that somebody had been tampering with it at some point in the past. I kind of suspect so, because if you look at this, you can see goober marks where a straight slot screwdriver was cranking on it, and those aren't from me, those were already in there. So somebody had it off. Anyway, I don't know if it was that, or possibly it turns really easy because it's such a light spring. It's possible just vibration from traveling down the road over the years had moved it. But it seems odd to me that it would have gone in against spring tension, right? It seems like if it was going to vibrate and move, that the direction it would have decided to do that would have been to thread itself out. But at any rate, I went to dialing her out, and this thing dialed right in. I've got the refrigerator running just because I wanted a bit of gas load on it. Just didn't want it deadheaded completely while I was adjusting it. And she sounds great. The refrigerator sounds way, way better than it did before. She's making good heat, which means she's making good cooling. And I set it to 12. Now, the reason I did that, I'm on the high side of it, is because we have 3 furnaces and a range in this thing. So at any rate, I'm just showing this because this is one of those things where you could go get yourself, I bet you can buy these on the internet nowadays. My dad used to be in the standby generator business, so we had to set gas pressures, or check them at least for the generators. But at any rate, so that said, we're hopefully off and cruising with this thing and going to be back in business without having to screw with this regulator. I did find a new old stock one on eBay and just bought the thing with the thought being that if I get out camping and have trouble, I can either rob the guts out, because I really don't want to have to swap this one. You can see it's hard plumbed in pretty aggressively here. And I think if anything, I would pull the cover off and swap the guts. But in order to be able to do that, I got to have this tool along, so we'll carry it around with us for a while until I'm happy with how it's all working. But at any rate, that was it. I just wanted to show you guys there's this is a possibility for issues if you have trouble with the LP system in your RV.